Welcome back to Close Encounters of the Tech Kind. I'm John, coming to you from yet another remote location. Love this one. Kind of Class A office space. It's nice to be here. This week, we're going to get into a couple topics on Close Encounters of the Tech Kind. It's going to be a continuing conversation of Flock. There's some new ideas, new dimensions, and some new movements on that. Definitely want to hear your guys' perspective on this. Found out today that a law was passed in Texas. Beginning the first of the year, your driver's license will be required for all Apple IDs. And if you don't have a driver's license, you need a parent to adopt you into their family as a parent or guardian to let you use any apps on your phone. What could possibly go wrong with this? Unity. Hardy, you got a spot on Unity there.
Yes, I do. Unity has patched a flaw that has been present in their system since 2017, but they didn't find out about it until earlier this year. So they've addressed it, and it's a potential major hole for a lot of people out there.
Definitely an issue. And then Jackson, you came up with a really interesting quirk in Gemini's behavior.
Yeah, and it's not just Gemini, but a few of the popular AI assistants are actually. It's been found that they have some ASCII smuggling issues, and there's been a bit of an interesting response from Google as far as that goes. And it's important to remember that these kind of things exist out there.
Definitely is. And then one of the other ones I'd love to see if we get time to talk about is ad volumes and how they're trying to pass legislation, or California just passed legislation like we had on TV broadcast ads. It's going to be a fun one. So Mike, Jackson, Artie, should we get into it?
Let's do it.
All right.
Okay.
You remember Flock, right? Those cameras that are placed everywhere, tagging your license plate and just putting it in a database.
It's my favorite company.
Yeah, there's a TV station south of us down in Denver. They did an expose on it, and Boulder police were using Flock cameras. It's an interesting system. Somebody kind of gave behind the peak on how the system's working. If you've got a Flock camera and you're looking up records for somebody's license plate, let's say 123 ABC, you search a national database. So that database tells you where ABC 123 is, or 123 ABC, whatever. It will tell you where they are, where they've been, and give you all those records. Do you know where it searches this database?
How do you mean?
When you do the search, it's in their national database, which means everywhere in the country is searched for 123 ABC.
So every state.
Every municipality, every jurisdiction, every camera. So if they've got 90,000 cameras, they're all feeding the information back. It'll tell you everywhere that combination has been. Boulder had reported. Now you can choose. Do you want to share your data with the national database, or do you want to keep it local to yourself? And Boulder had shared with the national. They got 424,000 requests for license plates in the month of February, according to Denver 7.
Holy cow.
500,000 hits.
From where? Just from
the entire
across the
country.
nation.
Are these cameras detecting which state these license plates are from, or is it just the numbers on the plate?
So
We don't know.
It can get the numbers on the plate, and it can also identify driver and vehicle if there is no plate. Like if it's the front of the car and they're from a state that doesn't require front and back plates, they can still identify whose car it is.
Oh yeah.
I can.
Yeah,
I
the
can
cameras don't just get your license plate. They have a fingerprint of your car. So if you've got a dent, you didn't wash it for a few days, whatever, a bumper sticker, it's a unique characteristic for your car, and it remembers that. So, yeah.
Yeah, if they're doing all of that, I guarantee you, if they can, they're getting the state. Like, if they can see it, they're gonna do it. And so, and I really like the way Lewis Rossman kind of framed this, because the way Flock and the way that it's being presented in um, governments or city councils or whatever, saying these are license plate readers. And Lewis Rossman makes a very good point of they are not license plate readers. They are AI powered cameras. Because if they were just license plate readers, they wouldn't be creating a fingerprint of your car that says, "Oh, you've got this bumper stick, this bumper sticker, this dent, and this you're carrying this trailer or whatever." And it's very clear on Flock's website that this is what they're doing. They advertise it. And so we have to be very careful about where we're going as far as, okay, are we implementing license plate readers, or are we actually just implementing an AI surveillance system across the nation?
So I'm gonna take us down a different path here real fast, because I think we've identified the potential power the system has, but I want to talk about the risk that we're talking about. I just saw a video documentary on the Marriott data breach that happened. 500 million overnight stays were cracked and shared with the penetrating hackers. So, okay, somebody stays in a hotel. What does that matter? 500 million records of overnight stays. What does that matter? Well, it's huge, actually. So the punchline of this video was the hackers got in through a vulnerability on a property that was acquired by Marriott. Marriott's team didn't do their due diligence on the security side, and so they adopted the legacy sysadmin account of the compromised system that they found out, China, the nation state, 4 years worth of continuing access to all the transactions. So let me put it another way. Everybody was concerned because you could now do correlative attacks and research people's behaviors. You could say, okay, these people are visiting Bangladesh and then Moscow and then all these other places. They must be a foreign diplomat, or they're on vacation a lot. Let's find out. Okay, so they're staying in DC. Okay, so now they're in DC a lot. They're now going international travel. Let's flag them. And then as a spy event, you place your assets there at those hotels where those people are staying to then potentially recruit or change their mind or do something, right? You now know where your enemy is going. You guys might know where my mind is on this now. If we've got these flock cameras recording everything, we're not just recording civilians. We're recording everybody. We're recording the military vehicles. We're recording the civilian contractors that go into military bases. We're recording all of our first responders. Where are our assets at? How do they respond to events? All of this information is now gathered and collected in a central database.
It's fine though, John. They're going to keep it safe, aren't they? They're going to lock it down. They said they would. They're going to do it.
It's going to be just as secure as TransUnion or the IRS, because those places won't get hacked again. We got a problem here, and I really would love for somebody to raise these questions of what is this data being used for? What is the retention? Why are we doing this? And stop recording people in mass like this. Now I got a part 2. Go and ask questions on part 1, though.
Well, I think the other thing is, I think some people might be like, oh, well, that's all speculation, But I think the evidence there is evidence that the system is already being abused. There were already cases of people stalking other people using the system that they had access because they were just an officer in some municipality. And now they have access to a national database of where people have been. I mean, it's not just speculation. I think that's something else that's really important to make a point of here, is that this kind of stuff happens and is happening. And so the fact that we're just chugging along and putting these cameras everywhere is crazy to me.
In mass. Well,
Oh,
and
yeah.
so the KGB, so not China, yet another foreign adversary. They call it trajectory assessment. Where is the asset going to go next? And so they set humans down to look at where people have been to guess where they're going to go. So you throw AI against this. Then we got a predictive behavior analysis on where John's going to drive next week. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Of
And
course,
the
I'd
other
like to
thing,
know where I'm going next week. That'd be get some predictability in my life.
yeah, tell me my schedule so I don't have to figure it out myself.
Well, and you can't access this data. So let's talk. In a perfect world, you can't access data without an actual like court case or court order or something. The instances of, and Louis Rossman brought this up, the instances of ASDF being a case number is very, very, very common. More common than is statistically allowed. So there's probably people just using a mash your hand on a keyboard approach to putting in a case just to get access to the database. There's no checks, there's no balance, and I'm worried that there's no oversight.
Yeah.
Who
Well,
watches
the other
watches?
thing, I mean, there's just so many points of attack here, right? When you open up a national database like that, and then you give access to that national database to just about anybody, and I don't mean to put it like that, but I mean, if you're giving access to every single police department, granted they have to submit some sort of a court case or whatever. I mean, the bottom line is that access is being given at some point, fed down the line to way too many people. So there's your first point of attack. Okay, you already have a huge attack surface. You can get in there from lots of many ways. And then you think of, okay, well, where's that data being stored? So you can just get around the whole authentication part, and then you just go straight to the data, or then you get to, other security measures. I mean, there's just so many points where there is no way to keep the system completely secure. There's no way to keep any system completely secure. And so it's better to just not have it. What are we gaining having this system? And I don't know that the evidence shows that we're actually gaining or saving anything actually by implementing these systems, even from a financial standpoint. The money that we're spending on these cameras and the databases and the water it's going to take to run all these farms and AI server farms. Like, I mean, there's just so much that I think people don't realize is going on behind the scenes that also just, I don't know if it really makes sense from a financial standpoint either.
Well, and the battle cry on this is we're going to stop bad guys in their tracks. There's been enough false positives on things to make anybody think, well, are we really solving problems? Or are we creating others while we're solving problems? When you pull somebody from their car at gunpoint that is completely innocent, but they're now decided that, the AI has decided that they are a criminal. That's rough. I mean, I can't get behind that.
At what point does everybody become the bad guy?
That's the big thing. Now let me give you part 2 on this. Flock is introducing microphones. Yeah.
Why?
This is
So they can
this is what
listen.
happens when you give an engineer a project and they just ignore all ethics. Like, take a moment and think about where this could possibly go instead of just making this cool system. Because, like, let's be honest, it's really cool. It's from an engineering standpoint, that's super cool. Putting these, this, you can track things from all across the world. Super cool. Ethics wise, terrible idea.
In Cheyenne, there's recently been in the news, because you talk about microphones. They're trying to pass, I think they did pass, can't remember where it's at now, a vehicle noise ordinance, because Cheyenne has had a problem recently of, there have been some people who own some motorbikes and some loud cars, and they've been cruising up and down some of the popular streets in town, and even the interstate near my house as well. So, I mean, I get it that, yeah, let's be respectful of people when it's later at night. People are trying to go to bed, trying to get their kids to sleep, whatever. We don't need loud cars and diesel trucks and whatever roaring by just for the fun of it because they're deciding, have a late night cruise or something. And so this got into their system of, we need to pass an ordinance to, eliminate this, put fines and everything, punish people for having their cars not factory spec and not, following some kind of a noise ordinance. And so I can see now, like, if you put microphones on these things, it's going to give people a reason why they'd want to have a loud vehicle. Like, let's suppose that there's conversation going on in the car. And if everybody's driving an electric vehicle that hardly makes any noise, then yeah, you're going to be able to hear that conversation. If I decide to drive my Harley Davidson or big diesel truck by with, the loud exhaust and mufflers and everything that make me sound tough and cool, then that might mask out that conversation. I'd be interested to see how that technology works, but I can see it going both ways to supporting the ordinance. Whereas if you're picking up the ordinance, you're also picking up, the noise from the vehicle. You're also picking up conversations and things that are probably otherwise privileged. I mean, just because I'm in a public place doesn't mean that I intend for my conversation with my person sitting next to me to be public knowledge.
Well, it's not public. It's in a private server that nobody can access without a court order.
Yeah, but I mean,
right.
I
that's
trust.
where I'm at.
I trust everybody who's going to touch that system. I mean, really, do I? I apparently I'm supposed to, right?
Well, every system that we've looked at has a vulnerability, has a chance of getting broken into. You throw enough good hackers at a target, and they will get in. Otherwise, ransomware wouldn't be a thing,
right?
I mean,
and they're making it bigger and better, and all they're doing is just making that target nice and big and juicy for whoever wants to get into there.
Yeah, I mean, we just had our cell phones get compromised for years. Foreign actors were in our cell phones. I mean, those watching, go back in our podcast. It was really frightening how you had literally years of exposure, a copy of every text, and we don't know if it was voice too, but a call, every record of your calls was copied off to a foreign adversary. So now they know where all the cars are. Where I'm saying this is a huge problem for our national security, because now everything that's in that system can be dissected, and we can find out where the movements of our first responders, our military, the support structure for military. If I said 80% of the contractors got their gas from one particular gas chain, so I blow up that gas chain's computer system, wait 3 days, and then pull the next attack. You stress out the supply chain. Now you stress the military, and the military is going to be slow to respond, and it's just going to add fuel to the chaos. I can see all kinds of ways a foreign adversary could use this kind of knowledge to their advantage, and we're not going to see any benefit. As a matter of fact, I don't see any benefit to having them in the first place, other than finding those 2 or 3 bad guys. I'd rather spend these hundreds of millions of dollars that this company has on more police, good police, some detective work, hunt down these people that are the bad guys, get an airtight case instead of a camera on a stick. Hey, I got passion here, guys.
That was a good. You could probably plaster those last 2 sentences on a plaque and put it up somewhere.
Tape it in front of the cameras.
Camera on a stick. Love it.
There is also the fact that just because the camera records something, that does not mean that what was recorded is what other people say it is. I mean, video with the AI generation of things, we don't know if it's going to be something that is going to be trotted out as, this was AI, that wasn't my car, that wasn't me. And it's video evidence in situations like that are not going to be as solid going forward, which is kind of funny and also kind of sad.
Yep. Well, speaking of sad things, I want to jump over to the next topic. Unless anybody's got some final thoughts on the flock situation.
I did, but I can't remember it.
What's next?
What's next? Oh, don't ask that, because what's next is not a happy day. Texas has just passed a law, and when in 10 weeks, the first of the year, we get a brand new method of tracking whether you're an adult or underage. The App Store will link your driver's license to your account, and then the Apple App Store will tell the apps whether you're over 18 or under 18.
I'm
There's
all
no
for child
workaround.
protection and everything.
Yep. Everything you do will be traced back to you.
And everything your kids do will be traced back to you.
Yeah, if you get a phone for your kids, you get to adopt that device into your family plan. Now, I thought of about a dozen reasons why this is a bad idea, but here's a big one for you guys. How many of you know, or not personally, but know of kids that come from abusive households? They moved out because their parent or guardian is just not being good.
Right?
Yep.
And now you got to go to them and ask for a phone.
And they're going to be able to know everything that you do on that phone now.
Yeah.
Without installing spyware.
So I think this is opposite of Save the Children.
Yeah, I think I've said this before, and I'll say it again. We're chopping at branches here, right? We have to get down to the root of the issue. If we want to protect the kids, okay, let's protect the kids, but not, throw a Band-Aid on the issue. This is a Band-Aid, and the Band-Aid is actually affecting a lot of other things, right? Because now people's IDs are in some database somewhere, and it's required, and I mean everything that comes with that. Whereas you could just get down to the root of the problem, and I'm not saying that I necessarily know what it is, but I mean I feel like you got to get to the parenting, right? I mean, as a guardian of a child, you have responsibility of what that child consumes, physically and digitally, in fact. So I mean, you have to seriously, take responsibility, I think is what it is. And so when we try to implement these things on a government level, you can really only get at the branches. I would rather see the money that's going to have to go into this, and the effort and time and the security risk, rather go to something else that I think would actually change the whole course of a child's life, rather than sorry, you can't get to this website.
Tim Cook took time out of his day from running Apple to give the governor a call and try and talk him out of doing this.
What did he say to that? I mean, obviously he ignored it.
I haven't read the transcript if it was ever released. All I know is the event happened, and I'm sure there was a dispassionate, you're doing the wrong thing. This is not going to solve the problem you think it is.
Yeah.
And
it's going to be a lot of hassle on Apple's part.
One of the things that I would like to point out with regards to this is a lot of the things that these laws are trying to address are already present in parental controls on devices. A lot of the stuff that they're saying, oh, this needs to be done, this needs to be done, this needs to be done. Parental controls on devices are there. And you can go out there if you want something stricter. You can find applications that will enforce stricter guidelines on what the phone can access on the internet. And this feels like legislating against a problem without actually addressing the problem.
It's when legislators who don't fully understand the technical pitfalls, the downstream impact, when they get in and create laws that say, well, just make this happen, it's not going to stop the illegal stuff that happens. It's not going to stop the abuse. Again, forcing families to work together, our worldwide lockdown 3-4 years ago, 5 years ago, that really brought to light a whole bunch of domestic issues. There's a lot of problems out there that we've just glossed over, but I don't think this is going to solve what the legislators are trying to solve. Now, Texas is the first. Utah and I think Ohio also passed laws. They're just not happening at the first of the year. They're happening in a slower time frame, giving the tech people a chance to do it. But I think I figured out why Google has shut down third-party app stores, because Google's going to have to do this too to be compliant with Texas law.
Mm-hmm.
And so if the phones are open for somebody else to load an app, now you can get around the law.
And Google has already started collecting IDs, by the way. I've gotten emails and I've gotten requests about, hey, you need to submit your ID, make sure you're not a child. And I just say, you can think I'm a child for all you want, and delete it.
If I'm a child, would you stop calling?
Yeah, this is harassment.
Can I please set my phone to that so scammers stop calling me?
How do they track how are they tracking this? Like, what decides that a user is under this jurisdiction? Is it mailing address, billing address, cell phone registered address, cell phone number?
That's the problem.
How do you...
They're going to build the system to support Texas, and they're going to switch the flip. I like mixing that up. It's my thing. You switch the flip for every state that enacts this law. And then it's going to be, and I'm just not down doom and gloom, but it's going to be a national thing where, well, let's just do it like the UK did, because it's working over there too.
Working?
Oh yes, that is working quite as well as, one-legged man in a butt-kicking contest.
That's a new one.
For you, maybe. I've heard that one tons of times.
Really?
Love that.
Caught me off guard. That was good.
I love having new perspectives, Jackson. Don't be shy.
So glad I could provide a new perspective on that topic.
Well, so putting an ID or having a child in your system, that just produces accountability for the sites that you go to, right? But does it? I mean, how many cell phones have been stolen?
Right.
Well, the other thing too is VPN services have seen a massive spike in usage since all of this is kind of coming out. I mean, I just saw an article that's saying Arizona, the state of Arizona is seeing a huge spike in VPN usage. Same goes for the UK. Like anywhere where they start implementing these things, there's always a way around it, and so you're really not solving the problem. You're just chopping branches. They'll just find a different way to get to what they want to. I mean, there is almost no way in the technology world when it comes to the internet to lock something down, because the internet is what it is. It is a web of devices connected in every single way possible. And so trying to lock that down and say, hey, you don't get to go here, it's like, okay, well, there's like 500 million different ways to get there. I'll find one.
And
that's one of those fun ones. I'm going to jump in on this. That's one of those fun ones. The EU has run into some of the footnotes and exceptions to some of their laws that they're putting in for, privacy and tracking and accountability and making sure everybody's doing the right thing. There's a footnote in there say, unless you're in Parliament or you're in politics, then you're exempt. Your phone can be private.
Well,
So
now it's VIP access only.
yes.
so one of the natural progressions with this, and we're seeing it in the UK right now, is people are going out there and they're getting the VPNs, and they're trying to circumvent this because they don't want to deal with the hassle. They don't want to submit their ID or going onto sites that they don't think the government should know they're going onto.
Or the hassle of submitting your ID to every single website.
Yes, and
That's
they
where this
are
Texas
looking.
law helps.
They're looking into banning VPNs altogether, and that is an entirely different ball of wax because, what is it? Probably about 60% of the internet runs on VPN because you've got people doing business. You've got people that are needing to remote in to their bank, and they don't want to, go on to a public Wi-Fi and have their banking details potentially intercepted by somebody that set up a node. So
Once again, it's this theme of the lawmakers don't understand the tech, because when someone who doesn't understand how the internet works hears the word VPN, they just think, oh, it's like incognito. There is so much that a VPN is used for in modern business today that is essential. Like, you can't do it without one, right? I mean, at least not to feel safe at all. Um, and so I'm sitting here thinking about this. I'm like, okay, as a lawmaker, when we think about our politicians and lawmakers, doesn't matter where you're from, whatever country you're in, or whatever government you're under, these people have a ton of control over so much of life, like transportation, internet, I mean, everything, food. And so, but that they're not experts in any of those fields. They're experts in getting elected. And so, that's why they have committees and they have all these things. But even then, it's like, okay, you have an advisor. You have your tech advisor. That's only one opinion in the entire world of tech. And so, I mean, I'm just saying this is just a societal issue. Like, I don't know how we even get to make good laws when our lawmakers they just don't know. And there's really no way, for one person or even a small group of people to be able to understand the complexities of these types of issues.
So if you got a party in charge, now I don't want to get politics, right? But I want to talk politics as a whole. You get one party that's in charge and they're making all these rules, creating these insights, creating these vulnerabilities so they can see what's what. At some point, the tide will turn and the other party will be involved. I don't think anybody wants to hand that powerful tool to their political opponents. Surveil my family. Tell me my kindergartner's teacher's name. What does that matter in the grand scheme of things? Why are we tracking it on civilians? Why are we tracking it on politicians? We shouldn't be doing this, but we are. So, yeah, the reason I bring up this Texas thing is there's nobody pushing back on this ID verification law. It's moving forwards unchallenged. Now, I don't think Louis Rossmann knows that this is happening because he could probably rally a bit of a challenge down in Texas now that he lives there. I think everybody that's listening to this should educate everybody else to get involved and offer the pushback. I'll circle back to that flock camera. Again, Denver. There was $1 million line item in the budget for adding flock cameras. So it went to town council. It got voted, and it was 0 to 12. Nobody wanted it. Everybody said, no, let's not do this. The mayor said, tell you what, we're going to do it anyways. And I'm going to make it $499,950 for the price because I've got a $500,000 ability to sign things without approval. So he got half of what he wanted. And he did it against everybody's votes.
Yeah, that's infuriating. It's so yeah.
Get involved. Get involved. Make your voice heard.
Yeah, I guess that's the only thing we can hope from anyone that hears this podcast is, yeah, just get everybody riled up, let them know.
I had a chance to go to DC a couple weeks back, and the people that I was meeting with didn't know what flock camera was. At least, I mean, I got to take them at their word. They didn't know what it was, and they didn't know that it was tracking everybody. So involvement and discussion is critical before it gets a foothold, and we can't take it back.
Mm.
These ID laws don't do what we think they're supposed to do. Well, we don't think we know what they're not supposed to do, but we know what they're going to do with it. But so that's the dim and gloom of the episode. How about we switch to something a little bit lighter?
It's only half.
Oh, Artie, you had Unity on your talking points.
That I did.
Please tell me Unity means we're going to come together and enjoy something.
Well, there is good news with it, but there's also some bad news attached to it. So there was
Good news,
discovered.
bad. Okay, let's do good news first.
Let's do bad news first, so we can get to the good news.
Okay.
The bad news is that Unity has a flaw that has been present for the last 8 or so years since the 2017.1 compiling of their what do you call it? Rendering software?
Yeah.
Compiling software.
Mhm.
So
Engine.
It's, engine. Thank you very much. So this was discovered earlier this year in June, and this past beginning of this month, they released a patch that covered it. The bad news is that it affects everything made with Unity between then and now. Now the good news is that they have patched it, and they've come out with multiple softwares that will help people that cannot actively re-render or repatch the programs that they've made in the past. Like, company might not exist anymore that made these programs. And Unity, yes, it affects mostly games, but there are also other things that are rendered in it. I know a lot of people that render 3D type of interactive programs also use Unity. So across the board, and almost everybody games these days in one form or another. So everyone's at risk, and it is on Windows, Apple, doesn't matter the platform, Android. So,
well, thanks to this new Texas law, you'll know who's using the game.
Yeah, potentially, but since this was essentially a backdoor type of code execution, it would have, even if somebody was sneaking into your device. I just thought of something really horrible with the Texas thing too. What if somebody hijacks your device and uses it to access something else?
That'll never happen.
Anyways,
You're
back to
dreaming,
Unity.
Artie.
I mean, stay on Windows 10. There's no way somebody could hack into that. It's the last operating system you'll ever need.
I wish.
On
Unity.
some computers, it's the last operating system you'll ever get.
Oh, it was a misquote. I get it now.
I'm just saying.
So
that reporter misheard. That's hilarious.
The actual really good news about Unity is that a lot of the platforms that use the apps, they are like Apple, for one. Their main thing is that if there's an app on the device that hasn't been updated in 2 years, they remove it from the App Store, which is both good and can be detrimental for people that rely on the apps.
Your dozens of users lose access.
There's that. Usually the way the App Store functions, from my understanding, is that if you've still got it on your phone, you can't re-download it, but you can keep it, except for certain apps that have been flagged as dangerous. So the Google App Store is going to be alerting users that download certain things that you might want to wait until this is done. Steam has delisted certain games and prevented them from being downloaded until they've been patched. And Windows Defender has also been given an update that will basically flag anything that tries to use the certain code window that this flaw exploited.
We
Sounds
should
like
do more of that.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
should be the way it's done.
It sounds like this has been a very good response across the board from everyone, from Steam, Unity, Windows.
Yes.
Like, why has this been so different from everything else? Like, is it Unity? What has Unity done that has made this such a
I got
just
two
an
words to
easy
respond to that
process?
with. Common sense. They approached it from a
Did you
common
just-
sense point of getting the solution out there to the people that have the best ability to mitigate it, since they cannot.
Did you
But-
just describe common sense to Microsoft?
I mean, somebody has to.
Oh.
Yeah, because I mean, like from what you're telling me and from what I've seen briefly and heard, it seems like Unity has done their due diligence for real. Like, I mean, they're
Yeah.
like, oh shoot, we have this error. This has been in the code for like 8 years, and from what you just told me is that they've actually even released programs that will help patch old systems that may not even be in development anymore. So I think that's like huge props to Unity for getting on top of that.
Yeah. The only caveat to that retrofitting is they did not release one for Linux, because it's such a small market for a lot of what their stuff is working with, and they do offer some guidance to people that are on those systems as to how to fix some of the problems, but it's a very small market share for them.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Well, we'll have to stay tuned on that one. I'm curious where it goes. But sounds like it's a good response on Unity's part on how to handle a crisis and deal with it appropriately and shut down any potential backlash and, flag people that don't know that they're exposed.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Bravo.
that's a big thing. Like, I
Well,
mean, I had
speaking
no
of-
idea it was an issue, but they made sure I knew. So I think that's a
Yeah.
great point.
Well, speaking of unintended consequence and not doing the right thing, let's talk Gemini. Oops. Don't want to disparage Gemini. It's a good tool, but it still has some work to do. Jackson, you found something that it's got a blind spot.
Yes, and I've been seeing. It seems like Gemini has a lot of blind spots. I think we've talked about a couple of them before, but this seems to be a common theme, and I'm a little disappointed seeing as how Gemini is a Google product of that they're not a little more on top of this. So what this is called ASCII smuggling. It's not. This is actually I don't remember if this is a new term or if this is actually goes way back. I want to say it goes way back actually.
Sounds slightly
But-
illegal.
Yeah. So basically what ASCII smuggling is, ASCII characters includes a lot more than A through Z, and the numbers. ASCII is a ton of characters, and so what is going on is people are sending calendar invites is where this is most prominent and where it's a little more worrisome. Because Gemini is starting to integrate across the board on Google, right? So it's your Google Calendar, your email, everything. So you get an email with this calendar invite, Gemini is automatically reading it and processing it and digesting it. And if you're someone who gets, 1,000 emails a day, you may not have time for it. And you'll just ask your AI assistant, which if you use Gmail and you're integrated, you just say, hey, Gemini, what's important? Well, if I'm trying to get you to click on a link, I might just send you a calendar invite that even if you open that up, it'll look normal. It'll say, hey, here's a calendar invite for some random meeting. It's at this time and place, like nothing malicious. But this ASCII smuggling, what it is putting hidden characters into that invite that visually you won't see, but Gemini, who's reading the code, will see it and will actually start processing commands that are input into those hidden characters. So for example, someone might send you this calendar invite, and say you ask Gemini, "Hey Gemini, where's this meeting at?" It'll say, "Oh, well, it's in this place." That's not where it says it is. Or it'll say, "Can you send me the link to the meeting?" Or, give me the link, and it'll feed you a malicious link. Boom. Because that's what it was
Wow.
told to do by the hacker. And so this is something that was brought up and told. Google was told, "Hey, this is an issue that you have, and it's not just Gemini either. This happens with Grok and DeepSeek. It's been tested and shown, and that it is a valid exploit." What's good to hear though is that ChatGPT doesn't show that it's vulnerable to this. Neither does Copilot or Claude. So it's just
That's
another
good.
one of those things that, like, and I told you this in the pre-show, right? It's sad because we've created AI in the hope that we can try and remove these menial tasks that we have to do. Like, I have to go through, find this email with this calendar invite, click the link. Like, ideally, I'd just be able to ask my AI assistant, "Hey, give me the link." You can't trust that anymore. You can't do that because you don't know what link it's going to feed you. And so I just think it's unfortunate, and it's unfortunate that Google's response has been like, "Oh well." It doesn't seem like they really have cared to address this on a serious note.
Probably is not being exploited widely enough for it to be a problem. I
Right.
know that, if you roll back the clock to auto manufacturers and recalls they would do on that, they would measure the number of instances and the average payout per lawsuit. And if it costs more to do a recall, then they'll just pay lawsuits. It's not the best way of doing things. I think business should be done with a sense of doing the right thing, not doing the best for your bottom line. I
You
love,
know,
Artie and I have had a conversation. Uh, uh, I think fines should be percentage of your revenue, not a dollar amount. So if Facebook or Microsoft or Google has an oops moment and they pay 10% of their revenue, not just $10 million,
Hmm.
yeah, they'll fix it.
Oh,
Mike, I
I
cut you off. I'm sorry.
go ahead, Mike.
yeah, I'm still the whole buzz over AI in general. It just really baffles me how people are so ready to accept it and everything. And I still can't even get, even with GPT-5, like asking it's getting better. Like I've asked it some questions, it's given me some responses. I've had it help me with some coding things, but as I look through the responses, it's like there's one instance where it made reference to a memory address in hexadecimal notation, and then later it referred to that same address but in decimal notation, and the conversion was wrong. I'm like,
Mhm.
that's not the decimal conversion for that hexadecimal address. I know that I have this one memorized. Like it's not. I think if they can get the AI to be more aware of the information it's processing, which I don't know what that's going to do. Is that going to add to the processing time to slow it down? I don't know. I don't know what algorithms out there that could do this, but if they can make it more aware, then some of these attacks, like what Jackson's talking about, it would look and see this and go, why is this all of a sudden here? Like, I'm not expecting this. It's in the wrong place. This message is formatted kind of weird or incorrectly or something. Like, let's take a break here and analyze this a little more. And it'd be really neat to say, hey, analyze, give me a summary of my email, my messages for the day. And then as it does that, it says, hey, user, I've discovered that somebody is trying to make a malicious message. Shall I delete it? Kind of thing, or something like that.
Mhm.
And then you would know, like, okay, this thing is self-aware, or not self-aware, but aware of the content enough that it can detect things going on. Because we have seen that there are some great uses, even in the cybersecurity, where people have used AI not as the tool to find a flaw, but it certainly has helped them make progress in finding flaws. Maybe cut down the amount of time that it takes to locate a flaw or an exploit or something like that. So I think it's possible, but for it to get to the level it needs to be for reliable mainstream use, we're just not there yet. It needs to get there more before I would start trusting AI for anything, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, and specifically for this issue and many others, this kind of a security vulnerability, obviously someone's on top of it, right? Like someone's been patching it, because ChatGPT, Copilot, and Claude, they don't have this issue. They're
Is it just because that they're engineered differently?
I don't know, but I mean,
Yes.
the tests were
Yes.
done by a researcher called Victor Markopoulos, and he was running these tests and attempting to get these AIs to accept, this ASCII smuggling. So I mean, yeah, there is gotta be some engineering behind the scenes that is saying, hey, look out for this issue, right? Cross verify that the link that you're getting and the link that's visually is the same. And I found the response that Google gave to Markopoulos, which was he reported the findings to Google on September 18th, but the tech giant dismissed the issue as not being a security bug and may only be exploited in the context of social engineering attacks.
Not a bug, it's a feature.
But isn't that a security?
Right?
Isn't social engineering like a security issue?
Right.
Well, the ransomware didn't install itself. It installed because of social engineering. So it's not a problem.
Right.
At the end of the day, basically, I get that basically at the end of the day, Google's saying, well, it's still up to the user to not click on the link. I mean, or something to that effect, right? I mean,
we'll tell you to click the link, but you should know better.
But it's really up to you. Yeah. I mean,
yeah. So that was the response I remember when I first read that. That just kind of made me angry. I was like, Google, how could you why would you say that? Especially when social engineering, I feel like there's been a big movement towards using more social engineering attacks because everyone's more or less aware of phishing, right? I mean, phishing is, everyone does the trainings, whether or not those actually work, which they don't.
Well, you've heard of the big Salesforce data breach. That was all social engineering.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's just infuriating that the biggest hacks come from social engineering. Like that, they're basically saying, so if anyone actually tries to hack you, this will make it easier.
Yep. Well, I think the biggest thing is stay cautious and stay aware and stay paranoid because they are out to scam you.
Yes.
But speaking of potentially scamming and potentially, annoying, advertisements. Have you had an ad on YouTube?
What? No, never.
Or anywhere else?
I get all
Facebook?
kinds of ads everywhere. My social media, my YouTube, my streaming services. I mean,
California just passed an interesting law. Jackson, that's yours, right?
Yeah, I'll actually just read
Your
this.
law.
Jackson law.
It was signed by Gavin Newsom, and it will require advertisements across streaming services, so Netflix, Hulu, Prime, YouTube, you name it. That the advertisements will be required to play at the same volume as the content that is being streamed. And this actually is kind of funny. The background apparently was that a senator, one of his staffers, was annoyed by this because he'd be watching something late at night and the ads would come on and wake his newborn baby. And so, he complained to the senator. The senator, brings it up and turns out, well, everyone kind of agrees. Yeah, that's terrible. So
If
get rid of
you've
it.
ever played lullaby music on YouTube, to have it jump in with a loud and excited conversation
Hey,
between,
kids!
yeah, there's no wrath or vengeance desire than a parent who just barely got to sleep because their little newborn went to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for real. So I think that's
Like,
an exciting step. But I think, John, I think you had said something to this, and if you want to expound on it,
yeah.
there are ways around it, right?
I already see a problem with this, but go on. Go on.
So one of the challenges, they passed this law back when you had TVs as your only media resource. So in the 70s and the 80s, you'd have your TV show, you'd be watching Brady Bunch, or you watch reruns of, Happy Days or whatever. It would play. But then all of a sudden you get somebody with a really loud and dynamic voice talking over the top of it. It's the same volume, but it's a way different sound encompassing envelope. And it just totally
Mhm.
changes the response. Think of listening to an AM radio station, listen to somebody talk, or maybe a song, and you flip over to FM and play a commercial. It's the same volume. It's not the same quality, and it's definitely not the same sound stage. Different tones, different inflections. And so it'll be the same, but it won't be the same.
Right?
And to add to that, with the way that, so it wasn't necessarily a law that was passed, it was just a regulation that was put out by, I believe, the FCC that
Yep.
required all commercials to be no louder than the TV show that they were attached to. So the response
And they
to
did
that,
a 20% margin on it.
so the response to that was, they would have like the ending credits, they would turn the volume up like 50%. So then the commercials could be as loud as the ending credits because it was part of the show. And it's why, some shows you will have just like one really loud moment in the show. And that was just to allow for, well, we're technically following the letter of the regulation.
Right. And I think
it's going to come down to how do they algorithmically determine the volume.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
exactly my point. Because I know this on YouTube, there's a variety of things that I watch between full videos and shorts, reels, clips, whatever you want to call them. Right? And there'll be times when I watch one particular reel and it's at a certain volume, and I've just got my earbuds in with my cell phone, and so I turn it up a little bit so I can hear it and understand it. And then I go to a completely different one. And just between two different content creators, they have normalized their volume levels at totally different levels. Like, and it could be because some don't even care and they're not even paying attention to it, and so it ends up really quiet. And others, they pay attention to that sort of thing. And so they say, all right, our standard is we're going to be right here at this level for all our content. And so I find myself having like, oh, that's a little loud, crank that back down. And so then the commercials that come in the middle of all that are no different because it varies between quiet and loud and quiet and loud. And it's like, I don't know, Artie, does YouTube do any kind of audio normalization for audio level at all
There
on
is an
stuff we
option.
upload?
That there is an option for the watcher. They have to specifically select it, and it persists across their account. So you have to be
Okay.
logged in. If you're not logged in, I don't know if you can access it, but
Doesn't
should-
work.
it should be on the gear thing, and essentially it's supposed to normalize the sound through the entire video. That means that the ads that come on during it are supposed to be normalized with the level that's in there, so you're not.
It also means
So-
it boosts the quiet part.
Yeah.
So that's the thing though, is that like the ads that I get are totally, well, not totally random, because there obviously is an algorithm that's going to target specific ads my direction. But out of that pool that the algorithm has generated, the ads are going to be randomized. I'm not going to see the exact same ad every single time. even though I'm watching 5 or 6 different videos on 5 or 6 different subjects. So how does someone get penalized because their commercial, their ad was louder than a specific video because that specific video wasn't audio adjusted correctly? Like, do you get what I'm saying?
That's where the question on this, I think, is going to have to get tried. Is this a content delivery issue or is this a content creator issue?
Mm-hmm.
Was it both?
And there's content out there that's designed to be quiet. It like ASMR. Can you imagine autocorrecting an ASMR video to where it's basically like Stone Cold Steve Austin screaming in your ear?
Lullaby music for your newborn that just woke up in the middle of an ad.
Well, I think this is another example of the common theme for today of lawmakers. We are all in support of this. Nobody wants loud ads, but they just say, "Hey, no more loud ads." The people are going to find ways around it, and so it's frustrating when laws like this get put in place, and we're all for it, but there is no solution set in place, right? There's not enough specifics to make it so that there aren't 500 different loopholes.
Yeah, there should be a review, and like the FCC, they're debating whether to get rid of ASTC 1.0 or switch to 3.0. Does it have DRM on it? And that's open for discussion, and they're having a good open forum discussion about that. They're not just listening to their 5 best friends and making a decision. They're leaving it open. Get involved in that. Seriously, get involved in that. It's worth knowing what's going on there. But I think that's probably the biggest takeaway I could offer you guys and anybody that's listening is get involved. Your local, your state, at the national level. Call your senators, call your representatives, share your mind. Because if we don't, they're going to be a unanimous vote on the other side saying, yeah, let's do voter IDs. Let's do driver's license for watching YouTube channel lullaby music. Like this isn't what America wants. Let's stop it. Raise your voice. So until next time, leave some comments. We'd love to hear what you got. I also love for you to hit like and subscribe. See if we can hack the algorithm here to make it, share this message out. If there's anything you've heard in this, share with a timestamp to a friend. Love to see this message get out to everybody, especially the national security side of these flock cameras. I don't think anybody's thought this through. We've got to raise the alarm on this. The discussion needs to happen. I'm not saying we're right, not saying we're wrong, but a discussion needs to happen. So until then, we'll catch you in the comments. I'm John.
And Mike.
I'm Jackson.
And I'm going to learn Unity.
And in the meantime, we'll catch you next time.